Experience, where we discuss how we as Black people view ourselves and Africa. Tonight, our guest is Imani Joye Samuels, a spiritual thought leader and the creator of Huru Space, who's going to remind us that rest is our birthright. You don't want to miss this one, so stay tuned because I want to know you.
I wanna know ya, Cameroon, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, gotta let me show ya, Nigeria, Bioko Island, Liberia. I wanna know ya, Cameroon, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, gotta let me show ya, Nigeria, Bioko Island, Liberia. I wanna know ya.
Doesn't she look fabulous? I can't wait to talk to her. Okay, so you guys know that the African Ancestry Experience is all about sharing identity-focused conversations with the African diaspora. Trace your DNA, find your roots, explore who you are. You know how we do. Shout out to the fam that's catching us on the replay, and shout out to the fam who's here right now. I see you, Fancy and Herman, Mary. Some of y'all were here before we even got started. Sparkle, Rosemary, welcome. I'm so happy to see all of you all tonight. Now, if you're part of the African Ancestry online community, fam, I want to see your country flags in the chat. Let me see what countries you're representing up in here tonight. And if you're a new African Ancestry family member, you have to join the AAOC on Facebook. We got over 8,000 people on there sharing resources and information about their African ancestry experience. And there's so many different ways to get started. The most obvious one, I say this all the time, is to go ahead and get your Matriclan test kit. Unless you know that your mother or her mother wasn't African American. If you know that line goes somewhere else, don't get the Matriclan. But for most of y'all, get the Matriclan test. But if you're still checking us out, you like, I'm not trying to swab my cheek yet, then go on over to the website at AfricanAncestry.com. We have a bunch of free tools to help you learn more and get about us and get comfortable about taking the journey. Now, y'all know that every week we give away an African ancestry item to the first new person to visit us, a first-time winner to log in at 7 p.m. And so tonight, congratulations, Herman. You're the winner. You get a Remember Who You Are journal. I love it. So you can keep your thoughts or gift it to somebody if you're not a writer. And then I want y'all to like us, share, subscribe, and please turn on the notifications. That way you'll be here every week. Listen, I feel like I need to say last week we had the internet guys were not working with us and we couldn't connect to Facebook. So that's why we weren't here. But I appreciate everyone who was looking for us and thank you for your patience. Wendy and I kept trying. We kept trying till about maybe almost 7:30. And then we were like, okay, it's a wrap. So I'm happy to be here with you guys. Happy that you're all here and happy to introduce our next guest. Yo, she is African Ancestry family. You know, we celebrate the family here. So I want you all to find a sleep emoji. I want you to find the sleep emoji. Sometimes it's a face with the Z's. Sometimes it's just the Z's. And I want you all to help me welcome Sister Imani Samuels. She's the founder of Huru Space here in DC as well as in LA. She's a spiritual thought leader. She's an entrepreneur. She's a lot of things. So I want y'all to give it up for Imani Samuels. Hey, girl.
Hi, Dr. Gina. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Are you rested?
I am rested. It's
nice.
A beautiful day.
Nice. Yes. Okay. Here are the emoji. So you know how we do. We told you, Imani, we get the family engaged. So they are welcoming you with all kinds of restful emojis. Listen, all month we've been celebrating phenomenal Black women, poets, authors, healers, and as a champion of the practice of rest, I love that about you. You help us bring balance to all that Black girl magic by reminding us that rest is our birthright. And I can't wait to talk to you about that. I bet you every single person you talk to is like, teach me how to rest. Tell me what I can do. I can only imagine what kinds of questions you get. But before we dig into that, we are in the identity business. So I want you to finish this sentence, okay?
Mhm.
I am.
I am. Isn't that the sentence? I am?
It's your sentence to finish however you want.
I am full and overflowing with love. I am love, as are you.
Now that is an identity for you. I am love. I love it. I love it. You're the first person to give that answer.
Mm.
Very nice. Full of light, full of love. So tell me about your connection to Africa. Like, because you, as I mentioned earlier, you are part of the family. You've taken the African ancestry test and gotten your results. What kind of relationship did you have with Africa growing up, if at all?
Yeah, I had lots of different relationships. I think I had one that was very experiential. So my parents were um, amazing, loving, still are loving parents, and they groomed me in a way that had a lot of pride, amplified the pride of Black America and Africa itself. And so through their experiences, I really got a glimpse into what life could be like, to feel fully embodied in the identity of Africanism, the African diaspora. I think my very first personal experience was studying in Stellenbosch, South Africa. And so I went to Howard, shout out to all the bison. And my junior year, I decided that I would go study abroad. And not only would I study abroad, but I would study global civilization and democratization in South Africa, in a town. This was 10 years after apartheid, and it was a town of the Afrikaans people, Stellenbosch. And so that was an amazing experience. I remember my first 2 weeks sobbing because I was dark complexion, and the colored people of the nation were discriminating against me. And I felt like, where am I? I remember cutting my hair off and being like, I just want to be free and liberated. And the Black people saying, let's straighten your hair. I just remember the dynamics of colorism. And I started to just grow a deep love for the land itself. So being in Table Mountain, being in the wineries, being in the Indian Ocean, like the land of the continent, of the mother continent, really did hit my spirit in a way where I have never experienced anything like it.
And this was college. You were a college student.
College, yes.
Where do you go from there when you have that experience in college?
Oh my goodness. And wow. It was one of the best experiences of my life. I have to say, I also studied dance while I was there, and to be in a place where there was majority white Europeans studying at the same time felt marginalized. Like I felt like I was inferior in my own mother continent. And so I had to reclaim some of that joy. My grandmother used to say, don't let anybody steal your joy, right? So I had to recall upon that wisdom from when I was younger to really deepen that.
And that, I get it, because on another level, because you were coming from Howard, where you didn't have to experience anything like that. It would have been different if you were coming from a PWI and then going into that environment. But that's another level of culture shock coming from Howard.
It was crazy. I mean, coming from, my roommate was Trinidadian. I had, family and friends from the Caribbean, from Nigeria, so I had an expectation that wasn't met. And that's that thing, like having those expectations sometimes disappoint you, sometimes surprise you. So moving through that was an experience within itself.
Wow. I love it. Now, what made you decide to take the African ancestry test? And can you share with us whose cousin you are? I know you got some cousins up in here on the chat.
I do. So my brother and I decided to gift my mother the test for Mother's Day.
Okay.
And somehow it got lost in the mail and there was a little snafu, but African Ancestry, the excellent service that you all provide is incredible and bar none. We actually got a phone call from Tanisha Brooks at African Ancestry, and she walked us through all of our DNA. We had like the whole family on the call to hear it. My brother and his family in Tennessee, my parents in Charlotte, and my family, my husband and 2 little girls were here in DC. And we got to hear where we are from. And I was shocked. I just knew where I was from, but I was not. Full of rice farmers, the nomadic country, full of Sierra Leone, Liberia, Guinea-Bissau. I mean, I was full. And afterwards, you know, my daughter just kept playing Liberian Girl by Michael Jackson on repeat all night long. So it was incredible to know Idris Elba is my cousin, and I have a lineage of farmers, and I have a lineage of the Fula people. I mean, I was shocked.
Yeah, the connection to the land, that strikes me, seeing as though that's what really drew you in South Africa. Have you traveled to West Africa yet? Have you been to any West African countries?
I have not. Well, I've been to Morocco, so northern west, but we have a dream to go to Sierra Leone and Cote d'Ivoire and celebrate our 10-year anniversary this summer. So we'll see if that happens.
Nice. Well, you'll have to let me know if you decide to go to Sierra Leone, because we have lots of friends there now. We've been traveling there since 2021. Okay. And so we can hook you up with some cool people.
I love that.
Can we talk about Huru Space now? Like, I love the African ancestry aspect of who you are, but I talk about that all the time. I want to talk about Huru Space.
Yes.
I love that you created this space, Imani, specifically with Black women in mind. And so can you tell the people what it is and what inspired you to create it?
Absolutely. So first, let me just say this. Huru is Swahili for free. And so there is a really intentional African connection to the organization. Imani is Swahili for faith. Yeah. And I remember, this is 2022, in 2019 being kind of at the rock bottom of my day-to-day career. I remember feeling debilitating anxiety. I remember feeling overwhelmed, burnout, and just really extreme, severe restlessness. And my girls, again, they don't mince words. They said, "Mommy, you are always tired." They kept saying it. "You are always so tired." And it was attributed to a role that I was learning as I was building. And it just required so much energy and so much time that I had created a lifestyle that was unsustainable. And when I think about the notion again of reclaiming joy, I had to stop what I was doing and take stock of the impact that I was having on my girls and my marriage, to be quite honest. So listening to them and abiding by those messages that, you know, spirit places in your presence was so critical and essential for me. I remember getting them ready to go visit my parents in the summer in August and just checking to see, are they good? And realizing my oldest had developed a skin condition that, if not treated, could have caused cancer. And so I was like, what? My heart as a mother, I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. I was sobbing to my mom on the phone. And it was at that point where I was like, I cannot live like this anymore. I used to wake up at 3 a.m., work, get the girls up, haul them to school, go to work. It was just this vicious cycle. And of course, this is pre-pandemic. But I decided I can't do that anymore. I stopped working nights. I stopped working weekends. And I just sat in stillness for 3 hours. My body was so used to waking up so early that I didn't know anything otherwise. So I sat, my breaths were still very anxious. They still vibrated. And so that embodiment really had me start to listen to God during those moments in the early morning. And I did that for about 3 months. 3 months, 3 hours. Somebody can do the math, but that was enough time for me to hear very clearly that Spirit said, you have to go minister rest. There are other people who are in your same scenario, who are tired, who are burned out, who are overwhelmed, that need to hear this message. And not only hear it, but practice it. And so that's what Huru is designed to do. It's designed to foster behavior change. It is a concentrated weekend of rest for one individual at a time. And the host shepherds them from Friday evening to Sunday morning in a way that honors their goals, their life season, and really the rest that they've been yearning, either consciously or unconsciously.
So what kind of things happen? Like I know that there's a intake kind of experience, but what happens when somebody shows up and they knock on the door? Like, can you just give us some examples? We don't need all the secrets because we have to come experience it to ourselves. Shout out to @Huru Space. I don't know why I can't say the word.
You got it.
@Huru Space and follow Imani so that you can join the revolution, the rest revolution she's creating. So what happens when we walk in the door?
Yeah. So first of all, I invite guests to show up. They don't have to bring anything but a toothbrush. They can bring whatever they want, but you don't have to bring anything but a toothbrush. Everything is already in the house, prepared for you. You show up, you just arrive at 6 p.m. on a Friday night. Dinner is already prepared. It is informed by your palate, so it is personalized for you. And then we follow a clinical framework. So it's a combination of clinical, cultural, and spiritual, where we transition into a moment of meditation, mindfulness, prayer, contemplation, reflections, journaling, reading. Whatever the curated practice is dependent on your goal and your season of life.
Okay. And do you have a clinical therapy background?
So I've been in a clinical psychology program at Columbia University. It's in the spirituality, mind, body lab. And so it's been a blessing to be able to experience that.
I love this. So I hear you saying that every experience is curated. Now you're the chief imagination officer, right?
I am.
So do you come up with the experiences on your own? Do you have a team that does it? How does that work?
Yeah, so we do have a team. I am there to ensure that the framework is followed. And then there are different components of the experience that compose the actual weekend. So I have a team of practitioners. I have a team of content creators. I have a team of chefs and nutrition, spiritually informed nutrition practitioners. So it is a team, and then we inform what the weekend itinerary looks like based on what we know about these as subject matter experts.
This sounds like, I don't even want to use the word amazing. It sounds phenomenal, Imani. And at first I was thinking, how does she do all this? How is she running a business, raising a family, 2 daughters? being a wife, being a friend, being all the other things that you didn't talk about when I said I am. But your I am, I guess, if you're grounded in love, that probably makes things a lot easier. But I would imagine that having a team is a big reason why you are able to be still sometimes. Would that?
Yes. I mean, we're small but mighty. But what I love is that the diversity of perspective is so powerful. It makes things easier. And don't get me wrong, we vet folks who are on the team to ensure spirit is there. We are like-spirited, sometimes like-minded, sometimes not, but definitely kindred spirits are on the team to ensure that we maintain the sense of ease for all of us. It has to be a mutually nourishing experience in order to honor what we gift folks on the weekend.
So, okay, I'm going to talk to you as a business person now, right? Because, people come into situations with all sorts of experiences. So do you vet your guests, or do you just allow anyone to come?
So the experience is designed for the woman of color. That is not a homogenous group. And what we do is we say all are welcome. We do have a limited number of spaces that we can honor. And sometimes we do vet. And by vetting, I mean, we say, does this make sense? Is this the right fit for you in this moment? Yeah. We will never turn anyone away, but we will redirect to the appropriate practitioner or a licensed therapist or psychiatrist if necessary. So we do have partners who are able to fulfill those needs if it is not a good fit for Huru.
Nice. Because I can imagine if you don't have the right fit, it could be very difficult for the guest and for the host to help the guest accomplish their goals. So I can appreciate that. Now, Imani, my team is on me all the time. Shout out to our producer, Wendy. She probably the main one leading everybody. Telling me I need to rest and I need to relax. And for my birthday, they gave me a gift certificate to a massage. And, it's just this constant focus on, Gina, you need to do this. What's the difference between sleep and rest?
So thank you for asking that. They are not synonymous. Lots of people like to mix them up. Sleep and rest are not synonymous. And you will hear this from the greats as well, the Trisha Herseys, the Nat Bishops of the world, and the Rachel Cargills of the world. For the Black woman, we've been, I want to choose my words wisely. We've been in this country for centuries battling chronic exhaustion. And so when we think about generational trauma and how that trickles down generation over generation, the absence of rest also trickles down generation over generation. And again, some folks may be able to explicitly call it out, and some folks may not even know that that is what they're yearning. And so from the very beginning, when the fabric of this country was designed and created, we had the Black woman doing multiple jobs at a time, caring for their own kids, tending to whatever they were assigned to, nursing someone else's children. That's 3 jobs right there, and that's only a few. And so that being passed down, it has to be like this unlearning and reconditioning of the mind, of the heart. And sometimes that requires active rest, meaning you aren't sleeping. It's not sleeping at night, although that is a very real issue, insomnia, but it's actually being alert and awake enough to honor what you are feeling, the sensations that are in your body, being awake enough to release. So releasing is writing, releasing is voicing or expressing what is on your heart, what is heavy in your womb. Some people call that the throat chakra, right? Like being able to express. So that release is also an active form of rest. Being on a walk, being in nature, surrendering to the tree, just like the baby surrendered to us. So creation, being able to absorb our fears, our worries. There are so many different forms of rest. It does not look the same for everyone, which is why we tend to personalize the experience.
And you hear all these sayings. I know firsthand, you can get sleep and wake up and not feel rested. That's how I know just fundamentally that they can't be the same thing. But going back, okay, so putting my business hat back on, we have this culture, right? And especially in business, this grind culture that is all about the hustle and sleep is for suckers and all that. How do you respond to that?
Oh, I'm right there. I also follow the NAP ministry, and they call that violence. They call the grind culture violence. And, there's been so much that's happened this week. I was at a supper of healers, writers, and artists on Sunday with Chloe Luvuezo, who's a brilliant writer. She writes Life, I Swear, and she has a podcast. And we were talking just about the violence that happens in the publishing world, in corporate America, sometimes corporate trauma. That is this working to no end. James Baldwin was asked, what's your dream job? And he said, I do not dream of labor. No one dreams of labor. So when my 7-year-old says, Mommy, I just want to live my best life, go for it. That is your full birthright. You are born to live your best life, whatever that means to you. I don't want to fold clothes. I just want to live my best life. Go for it.
Okay,
I am adamantly for doing that.
Yeah, that you mentioned Trisha Hersey of the NAP ministry, and she attempts to disrupt our thought about how we can't afford to rest.
Yeah, the luxury of it, like the being able to take time off or have a sabbatical or go on leave. It is it's a huge disparity. So that's why we have to negotiate for our rest. When we're out there trying to get to the next position, it's important we negotiate for that. It's important that we hold ourselves accountable. So if an employer says, what do you need? How can I honor you? I need my rest sponsored in full. Whether you come to Huru or not, or go somewhere else, sponsored in full. That's one way we hold ourselves accountable to experiencing this without having the financial barriers or the time barriers. We're doing as much as we can to work with corporations to sponsor guests because we don't want them to come out of pocket. This is almost the reparation that we can pursue. So that's the goal. That's the goal.
I love that. Rest is reparations.
Rest is reparations.
And
source Nat Bishop. I just want to source her because I don't want our sisters out here being stole of their truth.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that source. It's important. It's important to. So then, how are you and your colleagues reframing the concept of rest as not being a luxury, but as a human right? Are there other ways that we can see that? We are talking. I was talking to an African ancestry family member who's at Nike, and he's in D&I at Nike. And I understand that during the pandemic, they instituted a week of rest. So the whole company shuts down for a week so that employees can go and rest and recharge. I thought that was fascinating. It has nothing to do with your vacation or your other time. It's exactly what you taught. Look, now I'm seeing it's a form of reparations without them probably even realizing it.
Yeah, integrating it into a space where we spend a lot of our energy is so critical. And you know, like once you put that out there, the response that you get is an indicator of whether you need to be there or not. So I'm also thinking about other organizations. Girl Trek, for example, they take winters off, right? AARP does a fantastic job. They offer renewal to their employees. So there are some organizations, even Best Buy, their Black Employee Resource Group is now convening to figure out how can we embed rest into this workplace, into the experience. There are tons of different aspects of that, whether it's a wellness room, a quiet room, especially in schools, education. Is there a wellness section where students and educators can go and just be? Our own out in LA is doing the same thing. So lots of different normalizing of different forms of rest that are happening, and really great case studies, to be quite frank.
What are two things we can do at home as African Ancestry family? Give us some insider tips, please, Imani, on how we can cultivate rest at home.
Absolutely. So what's the first thing you do when you wake up, Dr. Gina?
I stretch.
You stretch.
Mm-hmm.
You get out of your bed and you stretch.
Well, sometimes I stretch in the bed.
Okay. That's exactly where I was going, because the first thing, the morning sets the tone and the posture for the full day. So waking up and releasing all of the tension in your body, whether you know it or not, just your teeth, your hands, your shoulders, your back, your feet, just release it. Whatever you wake up with, just release it. That's the very first thing. That just take that breath and release it. You could lay there for 30 seconds, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever feels right to you. Just release whatever that tension is.
If you're like me and you hit the snooze button, I'm thinking maybe you stretch and then hit the snooze button and then stretch and hit the snooze. Like you can make it an exercise.
A call and response.
Okay, so release.
Very first thing you do. And I would actually encourage you to have a glass of water after you do that. Okay. So, nourishing yourself with the water, life's ever growing, the gift that keeps on giving. And then the second thing is, as you're reflecting on your day, think about how you want to feel. So instead of creating a to-do list, you're going to create a to-feel list. So if today I want to feel loved, then I'm going to prioritize taking a walk with a loved one. And then that will help to distinguish where my rest is, how I'm pulsing it throughout the day. Because again, it's a practice. You have to practice it. It's not a one and done thing. You can't rest and you're good. It's anticipatory. Even in the, for those who are Christian or Buddhist or celebrate a faith, even in those faiths, it says you rest for a day, but the rest is anticipatory. God made man the day before, if you believe the Christian faith, the day before he said to rest. They hadn't done anything. There was no work that they had done. He said, come with me. I'm going to show you how to rest, so that in the future you can create, you can imagine, you're fully clear to do the work that you were placed on this earth to do. So those are my two tips.
Thank you.
Excellent.
I'm gonna incorporate the second one, because I have the first one and I do drink water when I wake up. So that's perfect. Beautiful. Okay, so Imani, we always like to end this section of the show with questions around legacy. So what legacy do you want to leave, or do you plan to leave, or are you leaving for your daughters?
I mean, the legacy comes from my father, I think. He said, all I want you, I have an older brother. He's 4.5 years older than me, Ian. My father told us this 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I just want y'all to have the freedom to choose whatever you want to do. just the sound mind to choose. That choice is the freedom. And so I think my husband shares that same sentiment, being able to enjoy life and spread love as you so choose. Enjoy life and spread love as you so choose. That is the legacy, whatever that means to them.
You guys, have you gone over and followed Huru Space yet? I want to make sure that everybody pull out your phone right now. If you're on your phone, you have permission to swipe me away and go to Instagram to @Huru Space and follow them. We listen to these nuggets we got just in these few minutes. Can you imagine what must be going on that page and what can happen if you were to go to Huru Space? And you have choices. You can come to DC, you can go to LA. So they're bi-coastal. So getting everybody from coast to coast. I want to encourage you to please check out @Huru Space on Instagram and her website, huru.space. Right? Huru.space. We got to support this sister. She's doing this work for us. She's not doing it for herself. I mean, she is doing it. It's just naturally coming for herself. But creating this space for us, creating this information for us, working with her colleagues who are other women who look like us to teach us how to feel better, how to live better, how to be healthier. That's for us. So what we have to do is give back to them. And it's just as simple right now as going over and following her. I want her to call me tomorrow and be like, Gina, I got 1,000 new followers after coming on the African Ancestry experience. So please, please go over there. And then I want to see a thumbs up in the chat when you have followed her so that I know y'all are listening and paying attention. Imani Joye. So Imani, real quick, because I know you got to go in a second. We play a game every week called Fact or Whack to see how much our family knows about a topic.
Yes.
So are you down to play Fact or Whack with us?
Let's do it.
So everybody, you all know how this goes. Imani's going to read the statement, and then I want you to put in the chat whether it's a fact or whether it's whack. And Imani, we're really good at this. Like our family on here, they know the difference between truth and fiction. So I'm pubbing y'all up. Let's see if we can keep our streak going.
Okay. Rest and sleep are the same.
Fact or whack? Rest and sleep are the same. Fact or whack? This is an easy one. If y'all were paying attention, this is a really easy one. I'm going to say that it's whack. I'm with you, Mary. Look at that. Look at all those whacks. A. Marie, R. Cafe Cubano, Keys, David, Iola, Jasmine, Jamal, Alicia. Okay, I think the whacks got it. Is this the whack?
They got it.
Yep.
Brilliant.
So maybe you go back, you rewind a little bit if you need to get the difference between sleeping. Oh, here we go. Here you go, Imani.
So sleep is a body-mind state in which we experience sensory detachment from our surroundings, unconscious. Rest is a behavior aimed at increasing physical and mental, and I'm just going to add, and emotional well-being. Sleep could be a form of rest, but they are not the same.
You heard it from the expert @Huru Space. Okay, number 2.
Stress is healthy? Fact or whack? Fact or whack? Is stress healthy?
Is this a trick one? Stress is healthy. So some people are saying fact.
Fact.
Okay.
Lorenzo says fact.
Our Cafe Cubano. I say this every week. He's my favorite Facebook name. Okay, we got facts and whacks. What say you, Imani Joye? Is stress healthy?
It depends on the type of stress. Distress versus eustress. Two different types of stress. Let's see what this said though. Fact. Stress is healthy. So eustress is the good. Small amounts of stress keep us focused, alert, and productive. It's part of our natural instincts that keep us going forward against adversity.
So it's kind of a trick question. Some stress is good. Some stress is not.
It's a total trick question.
Okay. All right, cool. And then we have one more before you roll out of here.
All right. Adults who sleep for less than 7 hours a night are more likely to report suffering from asthma, cancer, and diabetes. Fact or whack?
Fact or whack? Are adults who sleep less than 7 hours a night more likely to report suffering from these diseases? Okay, we got some whacks. Oh, wait, I don't know. That might be the previous question. Okay, it's a combination of facts. We got some facts, some whacks. What's the answer to this? Is this fact or whack? I'm going to say it's fact. It just feels like it's a fact to me.
I think it's fact. I think it's fact. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, sleep, not getting enough sleep just messes up so many things about us.
Fact. Yeah. Yeah.
That
was
sleep
just
is
a
so
sampling too.
right. That's just a short part of the list.
Mhm.
Imani, I know that you do not have time to be kicking it with us all night long. So I'm going to thank you so very much for joining us. You guys, I want to see some more. I want to see some, let's send her some flowers. I think smelling flowers is a form of rest, right?
It is. It is. And it's a part of the Huru experience. I won't share more about that, but yes, flowers is part of it.
Please check out at Huru Space. She's also at Imani Joye if you want to follow her personally. Like me, she probably would like to have some more followers so that she can get her personal message out there. So please follow her in both places. Imani, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I honor. Look at all these flowers. Oh my goodness. I wasn't paying attention. Girl, you got flowers for days. That just goes to show how much we as the African Ancestry Experience family appreciate you and the work that you and your team at Huru Space are doing on our behalf. And so I look forward to my experience at Huru Space. I have some friends who have been bragging about it and how wonderful it is. So I'll definitely be on your waiting list or whatever your lists are to get us
room for family. We make room for family. Thank you for convening this space. It's so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You are welcome anytime.
Thank you.
And I will definitely follow up with you if you decide to go to Sierra Leone. Don't forget.
Okay. Sounds good. I'm claiming it.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. We have the best guests. We have the best guests on African Ancestry Experience, and we have the best viewers. I love you guys so much. You know, I can't wait to be here on Wednesdays to hang out with you guys and talk about good stuff. So listen, we have some essays over at africanancestry.com/Black women for this month. We're building up a library, y'all. So there's a lot of good information, a lot of good commentary over there. Shout out to Sharice Kimbrough, who's part of our team and is helping to create this amazing content. You can also take the Find Your Tribe quiz over at africanancestry.com to see which ethnic group you have the most in common with. Again, you know that for some people, that's the first step in their African Ancestry experience. They're like, let me take this quiz and see what it says. And then all of our past episodes of the African Ancestry Experience are on YouTube. So you can go over to YouTube. Again, like us, follow us, share, subscribe. If you're watching us on the replay, I want to see you put another sleep emoji in the comments so that we know that you're here and that Imani can see the love. And then next week, we're focused, that is next week. Next month, geez, it's already the end of March, y'all. Wow. Next month, the month of April, we're focusing on all things DNA and the role that genetics plays in the health and well-being of Black people. So we're going to have some boss Black scientists on here. Anybody who says they can't find a Black scientist, they're going to all be up on here next month. So you definitely want to follow us and make sure that you are in the building for that. We're going to celebrate National DNA Day on April 25th at 7 p.m. And Dr. Kittles will be back. I know how much y'all love Dr. Kittles. We're going to end with some sage advice from a viral TikToker, Huru Naje. I don't know how to say her name. I don't know about you guys, but I plan to take her advice. So check this out.
I'm about to go lay down. Yeah. Go lay down. Go. Lay down. I'm about to go lay down.